Los Angeles has an acute housing shortage, and the workers are taking the biggest hit. They are being squeezed. They make too much money to afford to use these low down payment programs, and they don't make enough money to qualify to buy a home. Herein, they are traveling 1.5 hours, 2 hours one way every day trying to get to work. Well, today we want to have all the stakeholders, the people who are supportive of more housing production, those who are opposed to it for whatever reason. We want them to get in the room together and talk. And so we have policymakers, we have folks from the public health services, we have workers, labor unions, banks, other folks who are all engaged in the part of housing our workers. I think part of the solution is giving certainty to the homeowners that they can engage in the homeowner community planning process, certainty for the builders who want to know that when they buy a piece of land that they actually can do something with it. Well, the big challenge is that we have a shortage, and when you have a shortage and the demand is high, prices go up. So if we can increase the number of housing units, prices will stabilize and then more people can afford it. Well, we have to stop some of those barriers that are in the way. Government barriers like housing costs for building, linkage fees that the city of Los Angeles is proposing, things like that. We need to get rid of those things. And also we need to educate the neighborhood councils and the neighborhood advocates that, everyone needs a place to live.
First, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nancy Starzyk, and I'm president of Southland Regional Association of Realtors. Yay! Okay. And I want to say welcome to every one of you. Thank you very much for being here. And I'm going to be preaching to the choir, but you know that Los Angeles County is one of the most least affordable housing markets in the whole country, and it's likely to get worse. So for those people who aren't on the, or in the upper income brackets, are the people that are in our workforce, that live paycheck to paycheck, it becomes a real issue. So even for professionals with good incomes, buying a house is a really heavy lift. So we have to find ways to catch up and help the thousands of people who simply just can't even think about buying a home. So today we come together with a hope for our future, and I want to say a special thank you to Mel Wilson. Mel put this together. And I look forward to a promising year and all these wonderful ideas that we're going to gather. So it is my privilege and honor to introduce Gary Washburn. Gary is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And where is our flag? Oh, here, right behind me. Thank you. Come on, Gary.
Good morning, and place your hand over your heart and repeat with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Tim Johnson. I'm the new, recently appointed CEO of Southland Regional Association of Realtors. I want to take just a few minutes to introduce to you all of the panelists that we have here that represent a very diverse set of involvement in the community. And when I call your name, if you just stand so we can recognize you, we have many panelists that are going to be coming this afternoon. But for those of you that are here, if you would stand and be recognized, and just in the interest of time, if you could hold your applause to the end, that'd be fantastic. We've got a long list of folks here. First, I'd like to just introduce Ben Metcalf, who is the director of the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Ben will be here as our keynote speaker this afternoon. Ben, if you're here, stand up. Scott Syfax, who is the CEO of Nehemiah Companies, will also be here and speaking with you. Scott, great standing there, Scott, thanks. Mel Wilson, our Government Affairs Director at Southland Regional Association of Realtors, the visionary for this setting, and you've met Nancy and myself. Also, we'll have Ken Bernstein, Principal City Planner, LA Department of City. Thank you, Ken. City of Los Angeles. Bob Blumenfeld, Los Angeles City Council member, who will be here, I suspect, this afternoon. I know they've got City Council meetings this morning. Mercedes Marquez, who is the former Assistant Secretary, U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Kim Eowyn, Director of Special Projects, LA County Department of Public Health. Thank you, Kim. Was I close on the last name? Thank you. Jenna Hornstock, Deputy Executive Officer, LA County Metro. Bob Keller, Santa Clarita City Council member and Realtor. Sandy Brown, Vice President, Westwood Neighborhood Council. Sandy, thank you. We have Will Wright, Director of Government and Public Affairs at American Institute of Architects, Los Angeles. Jonathan Wolf, Associate Director of Supportive Services, Southern California Mercy Housing. Fernando Arboleda, Loan Consultant with New American Funding. Paul Kretz, Los Angeles City Council Member. Mayanne Johnson, Planner, Southern California Association of Governments. Brian Border, Manager, Wells Fargo. Brian, thank you. Destiny Drake of Viceroy Realty. And you can see the diversity of the folks that we have here representing so many interests in the community. Linda Wheaton, Assistant Director, California Department of Housing and Community Development. Fred Gaines, Calabasas City Council. Julie Butcher, who is involved in work with the SEIU, Local 721, and also in other social and economic justice programs. Crystal Mitchell, educator, consultant, and recycling black dollars. Crystal, there you go. Mark Valianatos, communications director, Abundant Housing, LA. Sean Spear, managing director, Hunt Mortgage Group. Severin Ashkenazi, president, Ashkenazi Development Incorporated. We have Magdalena Duran, senior administrator, El Proyecto del Barrio. Scott Abrams, chief of staff for U.S. Congressman Brad Sherman. Thank you. Will Wright, Director of Government. Oh, excuse me. We don't want to go backwards. Emelita Pascual Spear, Regional Director of Philanthropy, Mercy Housing, California. Amy Dacre, Relationship Manager, Fannie Mae. Don Lane, CEO, Hope Home Foundation. Thank you, Don. Jack Shine, Housing Developer and Philanthropist. Josue Barrios, former mayor of Cudahy and a realtor as well. Lorraine Jordan, Early Childhood Educator. Sergio Rascon, Business Manager, Local 300. Tom Ross, President, San Fernando Chamber of Commerce. Caprice Young, formerly Board President with LAUSD. James Litz, the Government Affairs Director at our neighbor association over the hill, Beverly Hills, Greater Los Angeles, Association of Realtors. Jorge De Leon, a realtor member. Thank you, Jorge. Holly Schroeder, President and CEO, Santa Clarita Valley Economic Development Corporation. Jared Degonia, Senior Field Deputy for Supervisor Catherine Barger. Corinne Sanchez, President and CEO, El Proyecto del Barrio. Theodore G. Lumpkin, who is the owner of Ted Lumpkin Real Estate, also a Congressional Gold Medal of Honor winner and Tuskegee Airman, who is here in the house, I believe. Thank you. Marianne Haver-Hill, consultant and former CEO of Meet Each Need with Dignity, or MEND, as it's often referred to. Robert Scott, Executive Director, Mulholland Institute. And we also have, I believe, Tracy Hernandez, CEO of BizFed. Tracy, are you here? Tracy, I know will be here a little bit later. And Ken Phillips, who is the CEO of BizFed, I know is also here. Ken, thank you. And then I'd be remiss if I also didn't mention that with Mel's vision, certainly, and the execution support of our Board of Realtors at the Southland Regional Association of Realtors, this wouldn't be possible. So any of our board members here, if you would also just stand and be recognized, I'd appreciate that. Any of our Board of Directors here, thank you. And with that, I know we'll have a good program. We've got a great selection of panelists, and a big round of applause for all of them for attending. Thank you, and I'll bring up Mel Wilson. Thanks, Mel. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I don't know what's going on with this LA traffic, but several of our participants are not here. But I'm sure they're on their way. We're thankful that you're here, and I just want to give a shout out to my good friend Jim Link, who is our retired CEO for the Southland Regional Association of Realtors. Where are you, Jim? Cool. Okay. Today, as I look at this schedule of events and activities, I notice that some of our key people are on their way, so we will have to have an alternate play. Is that okay with you guys? I think there were some alternate plays in the Super Bowl this past weekend, right? All right. I just want to share a couple things with you. We have a very robust schedule this morning, and I also want to give a shout out to one of my new best friends, Sandy Brown from the Westwood Neighborhood Council. Sandy's here, and it just shows you that if you just reach out, people will allow you to touch them and we can talk. Right, Sandy? How about a hand for Sandy? So why are we here? Middle-class workers. That's our focus today. We know there are challenges with the homeless, with transitional housing, but we don't give enough attention to our middle-class workers. And that's the focus of this forum today. Middle-class workers are being squeezed. They don't make enough money to qualify to purchase a home or a condo, and they make too much money to qualify for some of the low down payment and subsidy programs. And so no one is standing up for the middle-class workers, and I'm thankful that you're all here from your own perspectives and backgrounds standing up for middle-class workers. Today, we have a number of things that we're going to be doing. We have breakout sessions. We have 3 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. The participants will be at the table with a cordless microphone. The rest of us will be around those tables in a classroom type setting, and the participants will be brainstorming about they have 3 questions that they all need to answer. And I'm going to ask you to be prepared to do the same thing. The first one is, how did we get here? How did we get to a place where we have an acute housing shortage, where workers are driving 1.5 to 2 hours one way each day in order for them to get to work? The second question is, how can our organization, how can our firm make a significant increase in the supply of housing for our workers? And then the third question is, how can I, and that's you, make it personal to yourself, take ownership and help my organization make a difference by increasing the supply of housing in our region? So that's why we're here today. The breakout groups, I'll give you a brief overview of what they're going to be about. We have the labor partners. Those are folks from the labor groups, and each breakout group will have folks from all the various breakout groups. So it's not just going to be all Labor Party groups or labor members in the labor partner group. We have social benefits and health benefits, so folks who will be pushing that and telling us about the ill effects of not having adequate housing. We have the public-private partners, and my good friend Mercedes Marquez, who was an assistant secretary of HUD, is a person who thinks out of the box. She's worked in the private sector as well as the public sector, and so we have folks who will be talking about how we can all work together. And in the afternoon, we have government partners. A number of our city council members are in council chambers this morning, and they cannot be with us until this afternoon. We have neighborhood advocates who will talk about their concerns, their fears with why they are opposing so many housing developments. And I'll tell you, a lot of their fears are well-founded. There's not enough certainty. There's not enough early engagement with builders and the policymakers for projects that are being proposed in their communities. One fact, the City of Los Angeles has 35 community plans. 29 of those community plans have not been updated in the last 15 years. On a normal basis, they should be updated every 5 years. And so I know my friend Ken Bernstein, who will share in his group a little bit about what the city is proposing to do to change that. Right, Ken? Okay. I saw a nod. He's a good guy, so don't beat him up. He's a good guy. Okay? And the last breakout group is traditional and creative financing, and that would be in the afternoon. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. Take notes if you are a participant. The morning breakout group, the labor partners, Mayan, labor partners, Tom Ross, Crystal Mitchell, Will Wright, Don Lane, Brian Border. Hope you got your name, right? The social benefit in the morning, Antonio Lopez, Kim Iwan, Sev Askenazi, Jonathan Wolf, Ted Lumpkin, and it looks like Jack Shine, but I don't see Jack yet. And then in the public-private partnerships, we have Bob Keller, Jenna Hornstoff, looks like Ken Bernstein, Caprice Young, and James Litt, and Fernando Arbaledas. So those are the folks that we have in the breakout groups in the morning. You are free to flow back and forth to any breakout room that you wish to. You will have ample opportunity to ask questions after the breakout groups conclude their work. We'll have scribes who will be taking notes, and we'll post those notes in a video or projector on the screen right before lunch so you can all see the findings that came out of each breakout group. At that time, you can ask the questions that you choose to ask. And please, don't just make statements, ask questions. Is that okay? All right. Is that okay? Yes. Great. Thank you.